Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back if you've been here before, or welcome if this is your first time. I know I got in the comments, somebody said they stumbled across my channel. So welcome. I'm Jimmy, and this is First Gen Mini Rescue. And all I do here really is I show what maintenance I do. We have 4 Mini Coopers, first generations. All of them are the S models. We have 1 automatic in the fleet. The rest are 6-speed cars. So I try to keep them on the road. They're 20 plus years old, all of them. And yeah, so we have 2 R52s, which are the convertibles, and we have 2 R53s. Anyway, I'm going to read today's fortune because I read a fortune at the beginning of every video. This is the book, Fortune Cookie Wisdom, Words to Live By. I compiled it at the beginning of COVID when I was at home bored doing nothing. And Sharon, my better half, said, clean up all these things. And I had all the fortunes for like 30 plus years we've been living here in little glasses, jars, whatever I had them in, cookie tins all over the house. So I compiled them all. This is the book. And I'm already compiling for book 2. Anyway, the fortune for today says, find release from your cares. Have a good time. Find release from your cares. Have a good time. Well, basically that's saying take time out for yourself. You know, life is stressful. We live in stressful things. You know, you got bills, you got work, you got kids, you got back to school, you got everything. Stressful. Find you whatever your stress relief is. It could be something as simple as scheduling a game night with your family. That could be stressful in some cases. I got a grandson who likes to cheat. Anyway, or it could be something as simple as putting together a puzzle, going fishing if that's what you do. When's the last time you went bowling? You know what? Let me go bowling. You know, do something. Take care of yourself. Look after yourself. Your mental health is important. A lot of people at work, you know, instead of taking a sick day, they take a wellness day. Whatever works. So that's the fortune for today. That's what I get out of it. You get what you get, and hopefully it helps your life seem a little bit easier. Today's video wasn't so much maintenance because we've been driving our cars the past less than a month, 3 weeks. Yeah, about a month. The past month, we've been on a couple of road trips. One planned, one unscheduled. We went out to Denver or Aurora, Colorado. And then we spent a week out there. And then so we drove the weekend prior, spent the week, and then drove the weekend home. There'll be a thing somewhere so you can click on that and see how, you know, see about that trip if you want to look at the video I got from that. And then we were home. And then the following week, I got a message. We ended up driving to South Carolina and then to continuing on to Key West. Now, we live in Central Virginia, near the capital of Richmond, but we're the county south. So what I wanted to do, and I had mentioned it briefly before, I wanted to talk about the performance of the car. We drove the R52 and we drove the automatic R52. Supercharged version, okay? So let me show you or tell you how I do things and why, because I'm old school. I used to write all of this stuff down in notebooks. Now I just put it in the notes in my phone, and then I convert it, or I'll, you know, add it up, do whatever. And that gives me an idea on how the car performs. So let me explain what I'm working with here. Okay. At the beginning of almost every road trip I take, I write down the mileage, and I zero out my GPS trip A, which is, you know, you have most of them have trip A, trip B. Some of your cars will have trip A and trip B. But if I do, I only zero out one, which is trip A. And then we start at our closest gas station. We just fill the car up. So that's about 2 miles away, 1.5 miles. So I'm starting at 0 at every trip. GPS is at 0, and the trip meter on the car is at 0 and the car tank is full. When I get to the first gas stop, I write down the mileage. So let's say it's 310 miles that I've driven. And then I write down how many gallons it took me to get back to full. And I do that for every gas stop on the way. And so for Colorado, I'm not going to say how many miles I drove and how many gallons it took the whole trip, because that's math and nobody wants to watch that. But I will tell you, on the way out, we did 5 stops for fuel, and the average mile per gallon for all 5 stops was 27.69 miles per gallon. And that's on the way out. When we leave here at home, driving through Virginia and the western part of the state, as well as West Virginia, it's a lot of mountains. So you're going up a mountain for a long time. You're going down a mountain for a long time. So, but then when you get to someplace like Kansas, it's kind of flat. So you can I set my cruise control. Usually if the speed limit is 70, I'm going 73 miles an hour. And the cruise control is set. I use it all the time. The car maintains, give or take a couple of miles an hour. So the way out, it was so funny. Like I said, 5 stops for gas or fuel, 27.69 miles per gallon was the average. Coming home, I did the same thing, except we had 6 stops for fuel. Now, some of it could be because we were tired and we wanted to eat. Might as well fill up while we stop, whatever it was. I know there was a couple of times in there where I only put, 7 gallons in. So that's where the extra came from. But coming back on my notes, this is so weird. And I checked my math like 6 times because it's the same, 27.69 miles per gallon. So for that round trip, 27.69 miles per gallon from here to Aurora, Colorado and back. And that was a total of 3,833.7 miles. So yeah, and that's where, okay. And the way, if you don't know how to do that, you take the number of miles driven and divide it by the number of gallons you put back in to bring it back to 0. Now, I usually, after the first click, I'll do 1 click. Some people say don't do it. I do it. I do 1 more click, because if it shuts off automatically, I wait for a second because it's got the foam, the bubbles in the tank, whatever. Then I'll do 1 more click. And when it clicks off the second time, I'm done. Now, could it be different amounts? Yeah. Could I squeeze more in? Yeah. Could I stop sooner? Yeah. But on average, this is just average. Okay. So that's how you do it. And that's what I got from Denver. Yeah. And every time I stop, here's the important thing. Every time I stop for gas, I zero out the first trip meter on the GPS, and I zero out the trip meter on the car. For us, the car and the GPS, they don't match up. The car seems like it's shortchanging me mileage. I don't know. The GPS, I'll be reading 73 miles an hour. The car will only be reading 72 miles an hour. But, what are you going to do? Okay, so that was the first one. That was Colorado. Then 2 weeks later, 2 weekends later, whatever it was, we ended up going down to South Carolina and then continuing on to Key West, Florida. Now, this is mixed driving because we've gotten in traffic. We did a lot of sightseeing. You pull off into a town, you drive around St. Augustine, you drive around Daytona Beach. All of that counts. Highway time, driving around town time. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stops for gas. And, there's a couple of Buc-ee's along the way. And even though I don't need the gas, I fill up because I like a Buc-ee's, and not sponsored, but I do like a Buc-ee's. But anyway, so for that trip was a total mileage driven of 2,365.3 miles. And the average use per gallon was 27.71 gallon or miles per gallon. So we're talking a difference of 0.2 miles per gallon between both trips, going through the mountains and relatively flat, mostly interstate, some back road, but a lot more city driving that I counted. So 27.70 miles between the two trips. So that's what that car does. So all four of our minis are different as far as when you push the little button on the turn signal stalk, you can cycle through some menus. You can get the outside temperature, you can get the average miles per gallon on the gray car, but only on the R52 convertible, it only has two things, temperature and speed. That's the only thing on there. So I don't know how to add anything to that, or I don't know if my diagnostic tool can open up that menu more so I can see average miles per gallon, average speed, like I can see on my 04 Mini. But yeah, so I do it all manually, and I do it. I'll put a picture in here to show, you know, what it looks like, because I do it on my phone on the notes. So under the notes, and I'll put miles or the gallons and then the miles. And sometimes I'll put the price per gallon if I want to know, you know, who has the most expensive gas. Now, as far as that's concerned, I use premium. On all four of our minis, we use premium. When we first bought the first one brand new in 2004, the salesperson said you either choose mid-grade or premium. And at the time, fuel wasn't that expensive, so I went with premium. She said, pick one, stay with it. So I picked premium. I've been with premium ever since we've owned the car. So, yeah. So that was that. Anyway, so I just wanted to update that. So now, let me tell you what happened today. Okay, today, the only thing I was really doing maintenance-wise was checking all the tire pressures on the van, the Subaru, and the two minis that I'm driving currently. I just choose between the two minis, but I check the tire pressures usually on a monthly basis. I went out there to check, but my air hose on my I have a pancake air compressor, and the air hose on it, you know, it's about 8-10 years old, I don't know, but the air hose broke, so I couldn't adjust the pressure. So I knew I had a spare hose here, but I never used it. It's been here, it's been in the storeroom on the top shelf, and I figured whenever that one broke, I got one. However, I didn't have the ends to put on it, and it was so big and bulky. I was like, you know what, I'll just go to Harbor Freight, buy a new one, a new kit, and put it on the pancake filter. So that's what I did. It's a new hose, and it's got all new fittings. So I put those on, I checked those tire pressures. You know, I could have took the fittings off of the old hose, put them on my orange one with some Teflon tape and been done. But, you know, where's the fun in that? You got to go buy new tools, right? So that's what I did. And now I'm putting extra fittings on the orange hose so that it'll be ready at a moment's notice. I had an idea, but I'm changing that. Whenever I get organized here in the storeroom, I'm going to, hang on. Hello? Oh yeah, I got you. I'll be over, I'll do that. We're gonna get rain in the next 2 days, but after that, this weekend, we'll get it done. Sure. Nah, it's just the rear speakers. No problem. All right, bye. Oh, huh? Well, yeah, until then, just put all of the music all the way to your forward speakers and just drive your Mini. Yeah, okay. All right, bye. Okay, sorry about that. My next door neighbor with my step Mini is what I call him. His rear speakers went out on his R52 supercharged that helped him acquire. So they came in, he ordered some Pioneer speakers, 6.5-inch rounds, which he gave them to me. And so we're gonna install his speakers later, after all of this rain that we're about to get. Anyway, where was I at? Oh, so what I decided what I was gonna do was leave the pancake filter or air compressor in the storeroom and get one of those retractable hose and be able to put it through the wall so I can just pull the retractable hose out and use it and then retract it back. But that's a project for another day. Put it on the back burner until the concrete gets done. And like I said, it's gonna rain for the next 2 days, starting today. And it won't be done raining until Thursday, I think. So again, we're just on hold because you can't do concrete in the rain. Don't wanna mess it up. Anyway, so I think that's it because there's not much going on maintenance-wise, but I did want to tell what I do and how the cars perform, and what that does as far as keeping the mileage and stuff. It lets me know if I'm having an issue and the car starts using more gas than normal, then I would know. I can say, hey, I'm only getting 20 miles per gallon instead of 27. You know, so. And that car gets the least amount of gas mileage of the 3 that I drive normally. I get about 30 miles per gallon in the silver original Mini, and I get about 29 point whatever in the blue, the light blue hardtop. So both hardtops, I get better gas mileage than the convertible. The orange one, I'm not gonna. When I was driving it, I wasn't keeping track of the mileage. I was just trying to find everything that was wrong with it. And there's a lot, so, which is why I haven't gotten to it. So anyway, so what else? That's it. I'm not gonna hold you up. I know it's just a talkie, you know, but yeah, sometimes that's what we gotta do. We just gotta tell about our experiences, and somebody else may say, hey, I'm getting the same mileage or I'm not getting that much mileage. What should I check? I don't know. Start with some O2s, make sure everything is running and you don't have any lights. It could be, you know, you could be leaking your fuel injectors. There's a lot of different things. When's the last time you changed your oil, your filters, your air filters? All of those things add up. And then it's also how you're driving. I'm a little older, you know. As you can see, I got my old man edition. But so I'm not, you know, taking off like a rabbit from the traffic lights, you know. I'm driving sensibly, so all of that counts. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna close this one out because I got a lot of stuff to do, and I still got some preps that I can do for the concrete people, and yeah, so that's it. All right, I want to thank y'all for watching. Come back again. We'll be doing some other maintenance, as you know, as you heard. I gotta help my neighbor change his rear speakers on his R52, and yeah, so we'll get that done, and hopefully I'll ask him if I can video it. You know, I got to respect his privacy, and if he says no, then, you know, I'll just tell you about it. How about that? Anyway, all right. As always, I want to thank y'all for watching. For all the new people out there, I know this isn't a normal video, but stick with me. There'll be more. And it always helps. He said he just popped up in his feed. The one guy that made the comment. So the more you like it, the more you subscribe, the more you hit the notifications, all those things, comments, all of that stuff, it helps other people see the video. It puts it in their feed, say, hey, you watch videos like this may help you. So thank y'all very much for doing that. And I'm gonna get out of here. And as always, I want you all to have fun with your minis, because they will put a smile on your face when you drive them. All right, bye y'all.